A very good afternoon to all the students. It's nice to connect with you all, and we hope that you are happy and healthy. Since it's time that we decide the next course of action for the upcoming semester, we thought it would be good to give a general guidance to the students in the pre-final semesters. We have now started allowing the MTech dissertation students on campus with all the necessary precautions. And the academic calendar has been pushed ahead by almost a month. So we will try to tell you what are the likely options for your dissertation projects. So before we go any further on this aspect, I would like you all to know the concept of Bloom's taxonomy in learning. For any subject that we learn, there is a learning objective. And Professor Bloom and his colleagues developed the educational objectives way back in 1960s, which are valid even today. You all need to understand that there are three aspects of learning: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Cognitive is mainly about gathering knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Whereas affective is an inclination towards receiving the information, responding, valuing the concept, organizing, and characterization. Psychomotor aspect is about imitation, precision, articulation, naturalization, and so on. If you were to understand this in more details, the cognitive aspect is about the intellectual development, where you would be introduced to a new concept. You would recall, remember, apply the knowledge, frame hypothesis, have new ideas, have an interrelationship, understand the interrelationship between the ideas, judge the value and the purpose of a concept. The affective aspect is more about your emotional connect and interest in the concept, where you are sensitized to different phenomena and you're made conscious about the subject. With an effective reception, you can give a better response in a real life situation. And when you value a particular concept, it becomes a part of your lifestyle and your tradition. So as an example, if you were taught the significance of cleanliness and hygiene, you were also taught how to keep your surroundings clean. So when you have an emotional connect and you develop an habit, you would preach the same principles all through your life. And in real life situation, your instant reaction to an area that is not clean would be to take an initiative to actually clean it. The third aspect is the psychomotor aspect and the psychomotor development particularly, where it's the neuromuscular coordination in actual performance of a skill that you have learned. For example, loading a plasmid DNA sample in the well without breaking the fragile agarose gel with the teacher standing at the top of your head. So it is very simply, one can describe that learning to write is cognitive, having the will to write is affective, and actually writing, performing is psychomotor. You all are right now in the psychomotor stage of your development, where you have to actually perform and show your skill set independently when you opt for your dissertation projects, when you actually do your dissertation project. So you would have to show the precision at a given task. You have to show the coordination that you have at multitasking. Also, you will have to demonstrate the complete proficiency which you have developed at a given task. So the reason for showing you these three principles of learning objectives is that in case if so far you have not emotionally connected to what you are learning, then you should now make a conscious effort and a conscious attempt to do so. By this, your psychomotor skills will be developed better by the time you leave this institute and you become a alumnus. So this slide tells us the broad subjects to which you have been already exposed. And now you must check which subject stimulates your cognitive skills and for which subject you have both intellectual and emotional inclination. In short, which subject you like the most, whether you have the necessary knowledge, whether you have the necessary skills to execute any task within that subject area. Once you have decided on that, or once you have accepted that you know a particular subject or you do not know a particular subject, you know whether to improve or whether you need a particular area of improvement. So you would choose your dissertation thoughtfully and wisely, not because of a moment of excitement, but because you would like to devote the entire semester in training yourself in such a way that you have an upper edge over other competitors. This will also help to choose your career wisely. The next part of the presentation is now going to talk about the different choices that you would have. And we are here focusing on three major areas, that is research, industrial training, and writing. So if you wish to undertake research for your dissertation, obviously you would either join an academic university where the faculty members have their research areas and projects, and setup is very similar to ours. You can choose from state university funded by a state government or central university funded by the central government or a private self-funded university. The other option is that you work in a core research institute like national institutes, IIITs, NIPERs, ICERs, and other central research institutes. So the Ministry of Science and Technology has different departments, and these departments have several central institutes and research labs developed under them. For example, Ministry of Science and Technology has the Department of Science and Technology, DST, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization, Department of Atomic Energy, Department of Biotechnology, then you have ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, and several other departments. And each of this department would have several research organizations under its umbrella. So I have provided over here links to the different types of labs which have been established under these departments. If we were to look at the Department of Biotechnology as an example, you can see that several national institutes have been developed under this department. For example, you have the National Institute of Immunology in Delhi, and you also have the National Center of Cell Science right here in Pune. Moving on, if you wish to work in any industry, but not in a research organization, then obviously you need to choose the industry. Now, and if you need to work in a research organizations, which I have just enlisted, you would have to go to their individual website, look at their rules and regulations, and then apply according to their rules and regulations. Now, if you choose to do an industrial project, you need to know the different kinds of industries which are there in the biotech and the allied sector. So one can target diagnostics, pharmaceuticals, therapeutics, bioinformatics, contract research, food industry, omics, agri-biotech, environmental biotechnology, industrial biotechnology, veterinary sciences and cosmetics, and so on. Now, if you look at the organization structure of any industry would have, which is involved in manufacturing, would have a manufacturing or a production unit. It'll have a research and development unit. It'll have a quality control and a quality assurance department. It will have a department that takes care of the regulatory compliances. Then it would have a sales and marketing team, and it would have administration department, which will cover the finance, HR, stores, correspondence, and so on, very similar to the administrative office at our institute. So you can choose which type of industry do you wish to join. So if you look at the type of industry, you have the choice, like you can go to the manufacturing sector, you can go to the service industry, you can go to marketing sector, you can go to finance sector, or you can go for administrative services. So we first start with the manufacturing sector. So in biotechnology and allied areas, we have very big companies like the Serum Institute, Bharat Biotech, which manufacture vaccines. Then you have Biocon, Panacea Biotech, which manufacture biosimilars and monoclonal antibodies. Wokhard is into biopharmaceuticals. Then you have Krebs, which is a company that produces industrial compounds or biochemicals by fermentation or biochemical engineering or biocatalysis. Then you have Medtronic, which manufactures medical devices, and Aerobic Biotaxi, which makes digesters and falls in the bioenergy group, where we also have Praj Industry that's involved in biofuel manufacturing. In the diagnostics sector, you have big players like Roche, Abbott, Beckman Coulter, Transasia, which manufacture machines and kits which are needed in health diagnostics. Then you also have pharmaceuticals and cosmetic industries like GSK, Unilever, and so on. You also have a scope in food industry like Cypro Biotech, which makes vegetable powders for instant nutrition, or Biotech Foods, which makes the vegetarian meat using tissue culture. Then you have dairy industry, and in dairy industry these days you have fortified foods which cater to the hidden hunger. Hidden hunger is where you eat the food but you don't get the necessary nutrition from the food. So this sector is increasing at a very fast pace. And this sector, food industry and agri-biotech and dairy industry, all go hand in hand. Well, now there is a lot of emphasis on improving the soil quality and soil conditioning so that you get biofunctional and biofortified food crops. So you have companies like Rasi Seeds making hybrid seeds, biofertilizers, or you have plant tissue culture based industries like Rise and Shine for making ornamental plants, or you have some other industries which are making exotic or growing exotic fruits and veggies. So you can also become a part of companies which are into manufacturing of veterinary and human biologicals, like the Indian Immunologicals Limited. Then we move on to the service industry sector. So you can be a part of any of these industries, like if you be a part of contract research services industries where omics technologies are done, like Genotypic, or you can go to core bioinformatics companies like Brainwave Biotechnology. You can also become a part of the healthcare sector where companies like Beckman Coulter, Siemens, they offer services and support for medical procedures and diagnostic tests. So you can be an application support specialist, providing support for RT-PCR, for example, on SARS-CoV-2. Or you could actually do yourself RT-PCR on COVID samples in testing labs like Metropolis. You can also be into dealership of scientific instruments and chemicals like Thermo Fisher. Or you could do testing of food, water, soil, and air in testing labs like these. You can also be a part of biomedical waste management in companies like Pasco, or other waste management companies like zero waste or recycling industries like high-tech recycling, or into sanitization, big sanitization companies like high care, which is the need of the hour right now. You can also participate in pollution control companies like SD Enviro, which are mainly responsible for coming up with technologies and innovations for controlling the pollution. So we have given here one or two examples of industries of each type. There are many more, and if you visit the websites of these industries, you will be able to understand what kind of work they are doing, and you will be able to decide how you can contribute in this company further if you do a dissertation in any of these. Then we move on to the marketing sector. So you can be a part of marketing team of any of the companies which we just spoke about, or you can offer full marketing support, branding, digital marketing to any biotech companies. For example, Clarity Quest provides branding support and marketing support to especially biotech companies. Then you can also see that there is a new concept coming up like biotech BPOs and KPOs, so business process and knowledge process outsourcing agencies, where you can provide general information about any biotech industry and any sector related to biotech industry to the concerned people who are contacting you. Then you can also help people finding good jobs in biotech industry. So you can start or be a part of a recruitment agency. You can learn how to assist freshers once you gain an experience. Then we move on to the next sector, which is finance sector in biotechnology. So market research in life sciences has gained tremendous importance, and the performance analysis of different companies in the market has direct or indirect implications on the shares and the stock market. So you can be a part of the analyst company, which is doing the shares and stock analysis like the Prudent Biotech, or you can do market research like BDB India Private Limited and some other companies. You can also work with companies which are investing in creating business hubs for biotechnology, or they are capitalizing or providing funds for innovative startups. So if you are a part of such organizations, you would, and if you have the necessary expertise, you can help them in deciding whether an innovation seems promising or not. The next sector is about administrative services. So you can also be a part of consultancies which provide accreditations like NABL, NABH, or ISO, because these kind of accreditations are very important in these days so that you understand that people are following the necessary practices that have to be followed in either a manufacturing industry or a service industry. You can also be a part of companies like Compliance Online, which are offering regulatory compliances, or you can choose scientific laws, wherein you can actually take care of a lot of litigations or legal issues or complications in science. Then you can be a part of funding agencies like the Tata Trust. They have a lot of, they provide a lot of funding for science. Then you could also be a part of bio agencies like Environmental Health and Engineering, which are mainly focusing on developing or documentation of biosafety and bioethics laws in companies, different companies. You can also assist companies for getting drug approvals by making clinical trial dossiers like cleaning experts. Or you can be a part of a patent attorney firm like RK Diwan, where you can actually learn patent law, you can learn drafting of patent, you can become a patent agent, or you can become a patent attorney. Then you can also think of going for Indian Administrative Services and becoming a scientific advisor at the state level or at the central government level. Now, why is it important to have people from science into policy making or into administrative services? So this is a cartoon which tells that how a person who is a policy maker will not be able to understand the effort which the scientists has put in all the so many years. And he says that, can you come back with that 3-year study, summarized in 6 bullet points in a PowerPoint. So if you have people from science into policy making, I'm sure they would be more compassionate towards the problems and the difficulties and the real life situations which the scientists are facing. The next sector is then the writing part. Scientific writing or science communication is very, very important because you can see here, scientists may be talking about something which actually looks like an apple, but how the public understands and intercepts it, it could be like oranges. So you need to have a bridge between the scientists and the public, and therefore science communication is important. So you can take up different areas, like you can help students in writing their thesis. So if you are very good at scientific writing, there are companies like PhD Zone, which actually offer professional services for PhD thesis writing. They also write master's thesis and all that. So there are a few more companies enlisted over here. Or you could actually do writing for medical firms or for clinical trials like Clinipace and a few other. Or you can choose to do English editing or scientific editing like SciEdit publications. And let me tell you, one of our faculty members who was working with us is actually the owner of the SciEdit publications and is doing very well. His name is Dr. Feroz Khan. So he ventured into science editing post his tenure over here, and it's quite successful. You can also offer freelancing services, like you can write blogs related to science, or you can become a science journalist and you can contribute effectively to big science magazines like this. Now, why is science communication important? I already emphasized that, but this is a very good example. So for example, this is you, and you did some research and you concluded that A is correlated with B, but given C, assuming D, and under certain set of E conditions. So your university PR office, and then it says, yes, you have one. Mostly the university PR offices are not so strong. So, but yours seems to be strong. And they just picked up the information that you shared with them. And what they said was, for immediate release, scientists find potential link between A and B. So you can see it has, like the Chinese whispers games, it has changed. The statement has now changed. Now this is picked up by the newswire organizations and they say A causes B. And then the other people on the internet come up with their own thoughts and they say scientists are out to kill us again. And then somebody, cable news, notices it, or then they say A causes B all the time. And then some local eyewitness news, local channel says A is a killer amongst us. And you don't know about A can kill you more at 11. And then your grandma watches this news and she says, I'm wearing this hat to ward off A. And this is you. So you can see what you said and how it was interpreted in a completely different way. So this is the science news cycle. And actually you need good people in science journalism to break this kind of a chain. Then you have plenty of other options to choose from. Like if you have an inclination towards making films or making videos, you can also become a scientific advisor for documentary shows, documentary films, or for channels like Discovery, National Geographic, and so on. In ISER, there is a Science Media Center. Also, Pune University has Education Media Resource Center, EMRC. So you can actually connect to them and you can find out how you can do internships with them if you're interested in something like this. Then I found a site called as Science Source Images. And here, this is a portal. It's a database where you can actually deposit your videos pertaining science. And it's a very exciting site because you have a lot of animations, you have real-time videos which people have posted, and you could it's kind of a very good resource for kids to make them understand how science is and how the real-time structures would look like. Then one can also do database development. Now, databases you can develop in two ways. One is you can actually go to field and get the data and develop a database, or you could just work on a lab-based data. So there is a repository on which it is deposited, and then you synthesize that data and do analysis of that, and then further develop new databases using that data. So you have these examples like NCBI, the biggest database, or you have some other databases like the EcoTrends project, wherein some field-based data was deposited. So you can visit these sites and you can learn. Then you can also be a part of a science NGO. For example, you can see that over here, if you happen to be a part of this kind of an long-term ecological research network, you would be participating in a lot of activities which are for the benefit of the society. So you will be directly applying science to society. Then you also have Center for Science and Environment at New Delhi. You can also be a part of foundations like Bill and Melinda Gates, which provide funding for science, and you need to learn to manage that funding part. They need a lot of people from science to assist them. Similarly, you have American Association for Advancement of Science and also several Indian associations which are into popularization of science and also for the benefit of using science for society. Then in case if you want to be a part of a publishing group like Springer, Elsevier, Blackwell, Taylor and Francis, Sage, and all these. So these are big names, but you can go to any kind of these publishing houses. Nowadays, with Indian science picking up at a very fast pace, most of these publishers have their offices also in India, or even if they don't have offices, they have online work to offer many Indians. And you can see that you could get involved in publication of research papers, review articles. You won't be writing them. You would be in the editorial team, or you would be in the editorial office assisting the editors for the necessary editing of these volumes or textbooks or reference works and so on. Now, in case if you think that you have a very good ability to convince people or to guide people, you could also become a career counselor. For example, Biotechnica has picked up very well in last decade, and they're doing so well, and they are providing a lot of career counseling to students. Then you could also host your own job portal like Biospace. Then a new concept is coming up where, because scientists are doing a lot of conferences, academicians are doing a lot of workshops and meetings, so you need some people to manage these science events. So Bioscientifica, Conference Solutions, all these have actually developed as event management companies for science events. And then you also have people who are developing softwares, because nowadays the conferences are going online. So now people have started developing conference management softwares. Even earlier they were there, but now they're moving on towards more towards the online platforms. All right, so that was about what different options you have outside. So this is just an overview. If you have to go through details, you need to visit the websites of the companies, the examples which I've given over here, and read more about them, and also see which other companies in your local area or in your cities are offering such opportunities. Now we go ahead with what we have to offer you at DYPBBI. So what we did was, all the faculty members at DYPBBI, we met and we discussed and we came up with certain groups and some thematic areas which we are offering, which can be taken up, of course, as research projects, and also a little bit of scientific writing and science communication. So you could choose microarray data analysis. You could choose genomics. You can choose drug designing, docking, molecular modeling, plant diversity, microbial diversity, or review writing. You can also choose to do science communications. You can develop science videos, or you can do work on kinetics, on bioreactor designing, on antimicrobial resistome, fluidics, database development, and statistical analysis. So these are the primary research areas we are offering. And there are teachers who are responsible for each area. So the teachers have been listed over here. So you have a group of people in microarray, which can be done both in silico and in lab. Similarly, you have a group of people in genomics and plant diversity and molecular modeling. And each of these can be done in silico, in lab, or on field. Then again, continuation to this is, so you have microfluidics, kinetics, bioreactor designing, and again, each of these can be done either in silico or in lab. You have statistical analysis, antimicrobial resistance, science communication, science videos, which can again be done in silico, on field, or in lab. So what we are thinking is that you should be able to do in silico work at least 50% to 75%, and in lab or on field work again 25 to 50%. So that would again depend on the situation that prevails, because there is a lot of uncertainty. So we cannot predict the situation right now. So we are planning to offer projects where you would have at least 50% online work and 50% in lab or on field work, which can be, of course, flexible. And then you have review writing. A lot of teachers are interested in continuing this activity from the summer group. But now you remember that you cannot write group reviews. If you are choosing review writing as a dissertation, then you need to write one full review on your own. Now we speak about the tentative schedule, which we have to offer, or which we are trying to offer you. So the dissertation activity for the month of February, it will start for the BTech and for the MSc students. For the MTech, it has already started. So for the BTech and the MTech, it will start in February 4th. So you will be given 15 days to submit your joining report. You need to submit your work plan in a month's time. And after 28th February, in case before 28th February, suppose if you get a position outside, and you have committed to some teacher at DYPBBI that you will be doing project with them. But in case if you get a position outside, then you have to inform the teacher, take the consent, and then you can, of course, go out and work, because we want you to have exposure to the organizations other than DYPBBI, of course. But in case if you don't find any position and you are planning to continue your project finally in this institute, please do not change your project after 28th Feb. Because the teachers will also be planning something for you. They would be designing your projects. So it would not be a good idea if you finish the project 50% and then plan to change. It will not be healthy for you, and it will also not serve the purpose, because you won't get the training efficiently and very effectively. So then you need to submit your midterm report somewhere in mid of April, and your final thesis you would be submitting in the mid of June. Reports will not be your industrial reports or your thesis. The formats and all will be made available to you, and these will not be accepted after 19th of June. And the project examination is very likely to be held somewhere in the last week of June or in the first week of July. It depends, but tentatively we are targeting 29th June as the end of your project. Now, in December 2020, what we are planning to do is all the groups which you just saw, the research thematic areas which you saw, each group is going to independently discuss with you all. They will hold some briefing sessions, and then you would have to choose by the end of maybe January, you will have to choose your mentors. Also, in case if you're applying outside and if you need NOCs from the director office, please do not write any emails to Professor Pal or to the office directly. What you can do is, we are trying to develop something on ERP. We are trying to upload all the formats for your midterm reports, your joining report, your attendance report, your evaluation, the thesis, everything we are planning to upload on ERP. So you would be able to download those from the ERP. Now, if in case if you need an NOC, you can download the NOC format from the ERP. You can fill in your details in that, and then you send it to the student section. by email and request them for approval of the director. So the student section would then take the approval of the director and would email it back to you. You can also CC the correspondence to me, to Priyanka Guru madam, and to Tanushree Banerjee madam. So right now we are 3 coordinators. I'm handling MTech, Priyanka Guru is handling MSc, and Tanushree Banerjee is handling BTech. And hopefully we are thinking of taking one more person because the number of BTech students is high. So we would be informing you in due course of time. So you can see you have plenty of options to choose from. And once you choose your dissertation wisely and do it properly, there is a full possibility that your career option also choice would be in a similar fashion. So be good, stay healthy, stay safe, and thanks to you for your attention. Also thanks to Professor Pal for his constant support and guidance. And thanks to Dr. Priyanka, Dr. Tanushree, Dr. Satish for helping me through this process. Thank you all.